Hello, Ectosage here on the Sage channel. That is Sleep, Art, Game, and Eat. And what I have here is actually a bit of footage from a live stream I was recently in. And, well, this was a Space Engineers live stream where we got to talk to a few of the devs. And the footage is really just background. What we actually have here is a Q&A that the, well, one and only Marek was kind enough to give us answers to. Also, a few other devs are there too. I hope you guys enjoy. It's mostly unedited, and yeah, that's about it. See you guys around.
Yeah, we can answer questions. So
Okay.
just ask.
So one of the first questions we got earlier was, is automatic generation of asteroids that we can discover something that you're thinking about? So are you working on more asteroids generating as you go out from the spawn, or is that something that's planned, or? Yeah.
We are not working on it right now, but it's something we may look into later to like allow more asteroids in the game.
What do the
I've also
and YouTubers think about that?
I
think
it's
there's a lot of
awesome.
asteroids already. It's not a priority, I don't think, in any development just to get the asteroids around. I mean, we've got like a load of asteroids at the moment. There's so many other things. I mean, that guy must just love his asteroids.
Yeah.
Well, I think what
Maybe
that guy
we'll
is
future.
probably talking about is he wants sort of like the ability to keep on exploring going out, because currently it feels like you're in a small area. You could theoretically use up all your resources and find yourself going, now what? Now, of course, you could copy and paste your ship into another world and say, I just warped to another world. But I could see people wanting in the long run to be able to just carry on and keep going, sort of.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sort of
That's-
like, I think he's on about randomly generated asteroids as well, because at the moment there's like certain presets, isn't there? And then the stuff is spawned on them. So maybe like completely randomly generated ones would be cool.
I have a question from my stream here now.
Yep.
I asked for some questions and I got 3 of them at the same time asking about solar panels. This is something
Yeah,
I
This
have
this was sparked
it's
by
funny
me and
that
Sage
you are.
earlier, wasn't it?
It's funny that you are talking about solar panels because just today we were discussing solar panels and we are preparing something.
Ooh.
Awesome. I believe that
Hey,
got a load of people hyped.
Solar panels.
Just people's mouth, like chins just dropped.
By the way, I've seen one question. Somebody asked about when will be the next update. So the answer is we want to stick to the every Thursday kind of update as we used to a month ago.
Oh, I love that schedule.
Yeah, it's very good.
Also, another question. Any word or news about dedicated servers?
Yeah, that's also one of the things that we want to focus on in one of the next updates.
That's awesome. And then we have the quite obvious question that has been asked for a long time now. I think it's been answered slightly as well, but NPCs/AI.
Yeah, so that's not a priority at this moment. Like, there is actually one thing that we are preparing, and it will have a slight or some small AI, but I don't consider it as AI as like astronauts or something like that. So to understand our prioritization, what we want to finish right now is polish and balance survival mode and add factions, add large ship weapons or large weapons, dedicated servers, and to finish these things, and then we can focus on like completely new stuff, maybe AI or maybe bigger worlds or something like that.
One of the ones we've got here is one that's asked quite a lot actually. Is how big is the development team? How many people are working on the game?
So when we started, it was 3 programmers, 1 artist, and a couple people around. And right now it's how much, like 5 or 6 programmers, still 1 artist, and a couple people around. And but we'll have a new artist next month, and we want to keep the team at this size for a couple of months, and only then add some new people, because it's actually good when there is not too many new people in the team. It's more coordinated, and we are more effective, and um, I don't know, I just like it this way.
Quality over
Yeah.
quantity. I like
Yeah, I
it
could
as well.
definitely see that too, because you want less chance of conflicting opinions on where the game's going.
Yeah, exactly. And also, many people or most of the team understands the vision of the game or the direction we are going on. And also, there is one thing, and when we have a smaller team, I can see or I can manage all changes where the game is going. And if we will have a bigger team, I will have to delegate, and I don't think it will be the game I envision it. So that's why we are like keeping it small for now. And it feels like if there will be 50 people working on this game, I don't actually think that we'll have more updates or bigger updates. I actually think that we'll be just wasting our time in some miscommunication kind of things. So that's not worth it.
You also have you've had a few interns, haven't you?
Yeah.
Myself included. Someone's just tweeted one of the most sort of controversial things about the game is, will there be sort of larger asteroids or moons or maybe even air pressure sort of things in the game, sort of life support type of elements to the game, other than just the ship, the suit we've got already?
Well, I cannot say, or I cannot confirm this, but I don't know what will happen, like in 1 year or 2 years or 3 years from now. And right now we are still in a phase where we want to finish the things that we planned and designed 1 year ago. And until we don't finish this phase, it's too early for us to consider like completely new ideas. And the way we choose things or tasks to implement, it's usually like what do we think or what we consider will be most beneficial for players in a short term and also in a long term, but usually it's like short term. And there are thousands of ideas that we have, that players have, and we have to choose just few of them that we think are the most important at this moment. And so that's what we do. And right now, there are these things that I mentioned that we think that are more important than like I'm not saying that this oxygen stuff is not important, but it's a future thing for us right now. And also there is this question that I haven't found an answer to, that what reason will player have to take off his helmet. So I'm worried that if we add some feature like you can walk in a pressurized interior, people will just not do it. They will not take off their helmet because there is nothing pushing them, and then it will be just empty feature, and we will lose a lot of time that we could invest in something more important. But again, I'm not saying that we will never do this. Maybe in a year or something like that, we will find a good reason for oxygen.
Okay, so you're looking for some sort of stimulus for people to actually take off their helmets, where at the moment there's no real benefit to doing so, so it's not worth.
Yeah, exactly. All of the things that we added to the game till now are based on something that you actually really need to have in the game. Otherwise, the game wouldn't work. It's like we had to add thrusters because without thrusters you wouldn't move. We needed to add reactors because without reactors you don't have energy, and so on and so on. And so we are still in a phase where we are adding things that are must-have, and we haven't come to the phase where we'll be adding things that are good to have or nice to have. And there are still plenty of things that we need to do first.
Question from the stream here now. Regarding the big ship weapons, how will they work? Will they be manned or will they be sort of auto-targeting?
Well, I think there will be actually two types. First, we made these weapons like you have autocannon on small ship and missile launcher on small ship. We made them only for small ship, and I don't actually remember why we didn't make them for large ships, because it's essentially, like the same thing, just bigger. And but we already considered to put some this autocannon and missile launcher also on a mothership. By the way, just today I saw some modification where they made large ship weapon like torpedo kind of thing for mothership, and that's amazing how they did it. Actually, even we kind of don't know how they did it. So, but it's not a big issue for us. It's just like we are still doing some other things, not these weapons. So there are these like manual weapons, and they will work exactly like on small ships. And then there will be automated turrets, and two types, missiles and bullets, and they will be automated, so they will aim and they will shoot. And before we do them, I mean, we kind of already have these turrets in game, and we had them in Minor Wars, and they worked. And what we are still waiting is we need to add factions before we enable turrets. Otherwise, turrets wouldn't know who is a friend, who is enemy. And so until we have factions, which should be soon, I hope, turrets will stay disabled.
Awesome. A follow-up question on the attachments for ships. People are asking about welders and grinders for the small ships, like we have the drills.
Well, this is a new idea, and I don't know if we will go this direction. We actually considered something like, how to call it? Well, in my design document I call it constructor, but maybe we'll choose a different name. It's something like a 3D printer, but like basically building ships, huge ships, and something like this CNC machines, or I don't remember the name, and so that's basically that you have a blueprint of a ship, you put it to this machine, and it will print or it will build the ship, or it will repair existing ship according to the blueprint. And but I don't think that we will do welder and grinder for small ship, or at least right now I don't see it as a priority.
Cool.
But it's a good idea, actually. I didn't have that idea.
Someone's saying, do you guys know about performance issues that the game is having, and what is being done to sort out the sort of lag issues, performance issues that people are experiencing at the moment?
Yeah, so I think there are two types of issues. One is like rendering or physics, and the other is multiplayer. With multiplayer, we are looking on it constantly and trying to fix it. Even during this, this session, I personally experienced few weird lag issues, and it's nothing big, but we still need to look on it and fix it. And the second thing, or the first thing, is these rendering and physics things. So actually, I think the game is quite well optimized, and or I wouldn't say it's completely unoptimized. And but the thing about optimization is that you can always optimize it more and more and more. And also there is this thing that some people build really huge ships, and then they are really heavy on performance, and they assume that the game is not optimized, whereas the thing is that they really built huge ships and the computer has trouble to compute it. And so the long-term plan here is to keep it optimizing. And actually the game, Andrei told me that the game gained, I don't know, like 20 FPS or something like that in last 3 months. So like it went on some average scene, it went from, for example, 50 to 60, or I don't know, from 40 to 60 or something like that. So I think that's good, but there is still plenty of room. And Adam, you know that there are many models in the game that have too many polygons, and when you put many of these models, for example, I think stairs, they are really huge on polygons. And even there are these little screws, but they take a lot of polygons. And polygons in GPU graphic rendering, they mean like more polygons equals like worse performance. So what we will do, is we will remodel all these models because they are still just in a concept art phase, and this is actually what the new artist will work on. And we didn't do it now, or we actually, yeah, we didn't do it in last 5 months because Tomáš was focusing mostly on the survival mode models and all the stuff around. And so there is a lot of room. Just like we don't even need to reprogram the game. We just need to optimize the models, and things will get better. And then yeah, then we'll keep finding clever ways how to allow bigger worlds and bigger ships, even like past the moment that we consider as I don't know, like a normal scenario for the game, or yeah, yeah. So that's the answer.
Big Lou 55 just tweeted, "What about the wheel block? The wheel is the cornerstone of all human engineering, and is it something that you have considered putting into Space Engineers as a sort of mechanical block?"
Yeah, actually, we want, and this is one of the things that we consider like good to have. And funny thing about these blocks like wheels or rotors, or I don't know, there are a couple of them. We didn't have them in the original plan and design, and we added rotors. Actually, it was like we released the game, and a few weeks after that, we realized like, okay, we can do rotors. It's not that hard, and it can be fun. And we developed these rotors just to see what will people create with it, and if they will appreciate it or if they will use it. And the thing is that yeah, they use it a lot, and so this was like a test to see if people will play the game like Lego technique, like really using these little specific gadgetry kind of blocks, and they use it. So wheels are one of the things that we would like to do, and I personally see it like you will have a wheel block. It will be connected to the logic in the cockpit, same as we have thrusters. You know, like you just press W, A, S, D, and the ship flies in the directions you like assume it will. And we need the same thing with the wheels, some little logic on top of the wheel block, and it will run. And I think it will be a lot of fun, and we have already seen many videos where people try to build wheels out of blocks, and they do these gravity tricks. And I think that with real wheels and with a gravity that affects ships as well, it will be a lot of fun.
We have a question here as well regarding dynamic events such as asteroids floating about in space and colliding into ships. Is that something you have considered?
It's funny that you're asking it. I see a smile on Andre's face. We actually work on this on Friday, and I will let Andre answer this question.
Yeah, one of the programmers has started to working on this, and it's just basically the asteroid field which is flying through the space and hitting everything you have here. So you can like cover behind the asteroids, but if you're not covered, it will smash through, I don't know, few layers of armor. And there will be several settings for hostility. So with the easy one, it will fly from one direction, like from sun or I don't know. And in hostile environment, it will fly from every direction, so it will be much harder. And there will be also some warning system, like I don't know, if you build antenna, it will warn you that meteor storm imminent in I don't know 2 minutes or something. So you will have to take cover.
Could I ask a quick question, if you don't mind? You brought onto the antenna. What are your thoughts on radar or some sort of like detection system in space? Is that anything you've thought about?
Yeah, currently there's player tags which are visible from unlimited distance, but this is just the hint for players. But in design, it was designed like every astronaut, every ship with antenna receives the signals and also transmit the signals with ID. So it will be used for identification of each other. And for example, if you have turned off the transmitter, you can just passively receive all the signals, but nobody can see your tag, or your ship or turrets won't see you unless they see you physically. So you're kind of invisible for radar if you turn off the antenna. And it will be also used for identification between factions, and the turrets will shoot only something which is unknown or enemy. So if you enable the antenna and fly around your base, it's fine, but if you have turned it off, the turrets will smash you.
Very nice. Just another question that has been popped on quite a few of my videos is cloaking, or some way of like building a stealth ship. Have you got any ideas into that or anything?
This is one of the things that we spent some time at the beginning of the design of Space Engineers, and then we I don't want to say like we went a different direction, but we realized that it's not that important in the first phase of the game, so we just let it. But the original ideas were like, if you have a ship that's made of blocks that are made of some special material that's not visible on radar, or it's not easy to detect, then you can hide. But of course, this material would be very, to say like,
Costly, hard to find, rare.
yeah, of course this, but it will be easy to break. You know, like it will be even less protective than light armor. It will be almost like some glass or something like that.
But very
And
fragile.
fragile, yeah, that's the word.
Yeah.
And so yeah, but this is one of the things that we consider as nice to have, and we'll get to it probably later.
Thanks for that. Really like that.
It's very nice to hear it might be coming in later too. Can I ask a quick question on shields? Have you guys ever thought about those?
Yeah, we're getting quite a lot of tweets about shields as well. The YouTube comments are asking that as well.
Yeah, I know. I noticed this in forum and everywhere. The thing is that we never really wanted energy shields, you know, like the usual Star Trek kind of shields in Space Engineers, because it should be as close to the modern age as possible, and so I don't see it as a real thing anytime soon, and but you know, there is still this thing that maybe in a year or 2 or 3 years, when all these basic things will be finished, maybe we will do some modification or something like that, and there will be shields. I mean, we really don't want to limit the possibilities of Space Engineers, but there are still like literally thousands of other things that we need to do first than this.
Thank you.
Just one quick question that I got inbox the other day was how far are you going to take survival? Are you going to take it to the extreme realism of like needing to eat and drink, or are you going to just keep it as simple as possible, just needing energy and so on?
Actually, as simple as possible, at least for now or the near future. And as I mentioned on my blog, the reason is that we want this game to be about things you build and not about your body. And so instead of focusing on these things like that you have in other games like Arma or Daisy or other games, other survival games, you're really focusing on your body, you know, and but you are not building things. And so what we think is that we should focus our time, our development time, and also the general like direction of the game on building things, and not to focus it on character customization or body functions and stuff like that. At least for now.
Any thoughts on adding shipwrecks floating through the world, similar to the sort of asteroid idea that Andre explained, will there be like randomly generated ships, sort of like there's dungeons in other sort of survival games that you can go and explore? Is there any plans for like shipwrecks that you can go explore and take apart?
Yeah, it's funny that you are asking this thing. And Adam, you know that we discussed the cargo ships,
Yeah.
and so these cargo ships, they are not wrecks, they are normal ships, and they will be. I think that's a thing that people will be able to discover or just take it, grab it and and use it.
I have one last question, I believe, before we head off and stop this.
Yep. I have one last question.
That is regarding grouping of items. For example, in the inventory, when you have 50 lights on and 50 rotors, you just want a quick way to turn something on.
Yeah, I think we should do this, and I don't know when we'll get to it. There are actually two approaches that we considered, and one is the programming, or the idea that people will be able to program their blocks with, for example, C#, and they will be able to set simple programs such as if sensor detects something, it will trigger an action, so you can switch lights, turn engines on off, explode warhead, or open door, close door, or maybe create some traps or something like that. And so this is about programming blocks. And then there is this idea with programming HUD, which means that you will be able to write simple programs that have their interface on your HUD, and you can control things from this HUD, like turn lights on off without going to the terminal screen. And so I was actually considering that we can do grouping through this, but maybe that would be too complex, if you just want to group things and not write programs. So maybe we will need to do some grouping sooner than we do this programming, so we'll see.
Yes, as an artist, I would like to request less programming.
Thanks for your great answering all the questions. Really great.
Yep. So, thank you everyone for watching. And thank you, Marek, for answering our questions, and Andre as well.
Thank you, everyone, for everything.
And goodbye.
And goodbye. And this is how I end this stream. Thank you for watching.
Peace.
Thank you, everyone.
Goodbye.